Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar where we're going to take a look at the model-based definition capabilities within Creo 8. So glad you guys could join us today. My name is Rob Romanowski. I'm the Director of Sales Operations with 3HTI, and leading us through an overview and presentation and demo regarding model-based definition is Paul Dye, Application Engineer with PTC. And also on our panel today is Bill Stickney, who is an industry veteran of who's used an expert with CFD, all types of simulation and analysis tools, and a longtime engineering director with 3HTI. So we're glad that Bill could be with us today too. So if you have any questions, feel free to type those into the chat. This webinar today should take somewhere around 20-25 minutes, a little bit longer, Paul shared with me. So without further ado, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so that Paul can take over and start the webinar.
Yeah, thank you, Rob.
You have the con.
Let me go ahead and share up my screen here. Right, and thank you very much. Thank you, 3HTI, for having me on. Again, this is a great series that we're going over here with all the different enhancements with Creo 8. And again, today we're going to be focusing in on model-based definition, or MBD, but week after week and the coming weeks, we're going to be going over some different topics like additive manufacturing and generative design, things of this nature. So definitely be on the lookout for things like that. And like Rob mentioned, we're going to try to keep it short for today. We should be done in just under 20 minutes, I'd say would be a good time estimate. Don't want to go too deep into anything. Really today, what I want to do is give just an overview over these different things that were enhanced or introduced with the release of Creo 8. There's a lot more that goes around model-based definition. And if you don't have any introduction into that at all, again, there's a lot of different information and reading material that PTC does provide around that to get up to speed. But what we want to focus in on today is specifically everything that was introduced with this most recent release of Creo 8. So without further ado, we can go ahead and get started. So again, this is something that we've been working on with every single release of Creo. So starting here, first thing that we worked on with the release of Creo 8 was symbol modernization. And we really introduced new streamlined workflows for placing and editing symbols. We provided a rich gallery of standard symbols that you can work with and start with. Users have quick access to some of their more commonly used symbols now. We provide them the ability to easily customize that or categorize symbols that exist within that gallery. And now symbols as well support their semantic definition in the same way that it works for annotations or notes, meaning that you can now run a semantic query on a symbol, and it'll let you know which references are actually associated with that particular symbol. And as well, we enhanced Weld symbols. So Weld symbols are a special type of symbol. These are now also semantically aware. And the difference with the Weld symbol is that the references for a Weld symbol are automatically populated based upon the Weld feature itself. So this is, again, something that I'll actually show within the context of the demonstration so you can see what some of these different things look like in the context of Creo. All right, moving on to our next topic here, and this is going to be working more around the Gdmt Advisor. So this is a tool that we introduced back in Creo 4, and it's something that we use to guide users through the process of adding Gdmt to the models. It's also helping to educate on the appropriate Gdmt for any of the selected geometry that you're working with, as well as validation that the Gdmt that you've put in is correct. Everything is appropriately constrained throughout the model. So this is something that we've had over the past couple of releases of Creo, and now with Creo 8, we've expanded the Gdmt Advisor to now support assemblies as well. So this is probably one of the most asked for enhancements around model-based definition and the Gdmt Advisor in general, and it allows users to now fully constrain their models in the context of the assembly. So it's a really great use, and again, something that I can show. We've also streamlined the process of adding annotations to the model that don't currently exist. You can now simply just switch to the annotation tab, create the dimension, switch right back into the advisor, and you don't have to leave the advisor to go do that. So you can do it all within the same environment. And down there at the bottom, we can see we also introduced a new interface for managing annotation mismatches, particularly If you're bringing in models which have legacy annotations associated with them, the mismatch interface will now identify any issues that come up in that conversion and also give you the tools to go in and address any of those issues. We also improved standalone annotations in Creo 8. We did this by adding support of Creo's rule-based selection. So you could do loop surfaces, seed and bound surfaces, do all the surfaces within a particular body. So that's not only speeding up the selection of many different entities, but it also means that moving forward, those selections are now parametric, meaning that if there's any geometry changes, they'll regenerate and update accordingly, just as any other rule-based selections would do within Creo. And here I do also want to mention on some of the 2D drawing or sketching enhancements that we have. So we have a lot of customers today that have still a large number of legacy 2D drawings that they need to maintain, but maybe at the same time, they don't necessarily have or even want to have an associated 3D model with it. So what we did with Creo 8 was enhance our 2D drafting capabilities in the drawings. And that's starting with the ability to create drawing views. So this allows you now to import in a 2D drawing. You can select all the entities for a particular view and now identify that as a drawing view. So you can do that for each of the drawing views that you're importing. And then from that point, you have the ability to define the relationships and the dependencies between those drawing views. So you could say now, this is my front view, the top view is a projection of my front view, things like that. And this then builds those interdependencies between the different views, meaning that if I scale one of them, the other views will update accordingly. And from there, we enhance the interface for how you go about editing and creating 2D draft entities, which leverages a lot of the interface and the workflow that we have in our Creo layout tool. So that type of interface is being now brought into our drafting environment. That's helping to really streamline that overall process, allowing our users to make those changes much faster as well. All right, so that's just a couple of the different areas that we've focused here in the context of Creo 8 on. I want to take a moment now to go through and actually show what some of these different enhancements look like in the context of Creo, so you can get a better understanding maybe of what that actually looks like, or even just working with 3D annotations in the context of Creo. So we can go ahead and switch over and work with that now. All right, so we'll go ahead and pull up our model that we're going to be working with for the demonstration. And with this, we'll be working with a few different types of models throughout this. And here's the first one that we're going to be using. And this is going to be looking more into our surface sets. So that's the first thing that we worked on here with Creo 8 and model-based definition is providing a new surface set tab in the reference collector of standalone annotations. So this helps to quickly collect any of these semantic references using multiple different methods that we have here. So you can see that this includes, again, the surface of all bodies, seed and bound surfaces, loop surfaces, and intent surfaces. So users now, with that as well, can exclude specific references from a set. So that's a new function that supports all types of standalone annotations, excluding surface finishes. So with that, much easier to go through, select multiple different semantic references, even in these more complex shapes. And of course, with that, less time required now for the reference selection task that you might have to do. All right, so we can go ahead and open up our next part here that we're going to work with. So this is going to be using more of our symbol functionality. This is, again, going to be up in our annotation tab. And we have a sheet down here at the bottom that contains a lot of our 3D annotations that we have laid out. And if we want to work with the symbols, we'll simply just select that up in our top ribbon here and go into the symbol gallery. You can see that with Creo 8, we're providing a new gallery layout for browsing all of the system or user-defined symbols all within one place. So if we wanted to work with that tab, we can see all those different symbols, all the recently used symbols up at the top. They'll also be broken down into both 2D and 3D symbols. You can also, like you see here, search between symbols, search for specific ones very quickly, very easily. You can go ahead and add those in. You can favorite different symbols throughout there, pin those for future use. You can work with different display options throughout that, have them large, small, and as well work with different configuration options to define your default thumbnail type. So a lot of different options there, a lot of different uses that we have for those symbols there, really helping to enhance the work that we're doing on the 3D annotation side of things. All right, so let's go ahead and move into our third data set here. This is going to be done on the same part as we had in the last section. But now in this section, what we want to do is take a little bit of a look at the reference collector. The reference collector is used for standalone symbols or annotations. We can now collect multiple different semantic references throughout those. Now the attachment reference is automatically added to the reference collector as well. So semantic definition for those symbols can be very easily conveyed here on the model. You can see exactly what those are referencing. Now those symbols are supported by the semantic query tool, which helps to maintain compliance of any of the detailing standards that you have to work around. All right, so a quick look there. Now we can move on to our next section here, which is going to take a brief moment to look at things on the 2D side, which is again going to be focusing on the symbols, but again here on a 2D draft. Now with this, we can see that Creo 8 enables us to do detailed grouping and variable text sections for the customization of our symbol instances. So whenever we drag those in, we have a default index that we're starting with, wherever that symbol is going to be placed there. And then whenever we go to select on one of these symbols in particular, we have different customization options from the group to the index, even the object type that's tied with it. So you can go through, change any of those up, change the text sections as you might need there. You could go through here again, work with multiple different instances. You can do that with the repeat mode throughout that. So that's another mini toolbar command that we could utilize. You can see here also we have a new contextual transform command, which can help users here to quickly scale. We see there rotate using the shift command that's doing just a quick rotation with predefined step intervals. You could go through, change the size of it if you'd like to, change the symbol origin or wherever it's placed. So a lot of different areas that you can work with there. And again, a lot of areas that we can utilize the mini toolbar selection to work with there as well. All right, so we can move on to our next section here, and this is going to be focusing a little bit more on the Gdmt Advisor, which I mentioned earlier, which again acts as a guide for the user on the application of Gdmt while working with model-based definition, as well as validation that you constrain certain areas of the part correctly. And like I mentioned earlier, with Creo 8, this can now be done in the context of an assembly as well. The first thing we can see is the show hide constraint state, which provides these color-based constraint state modes where you can see which areas that are fully constrained there in the model, which we can see right now is in green. That means it's fully constrained. You can see any of the areas that are partially constrained or even constrained by a surface profile in the node. And then whenever we go to select on one of these features and we want to go through and add, we can see actually that the Gdmt Advisor gives us recommendations for particular characteristics that would make the most sense for this particular area. And we can see that actually grays out any of the ones that wouldn't make sense. So it's helping us to make sure that we're making all of the right decisions. It's helping us to cut down on any of the area and any of the errors that we might see throughout that process as well. And again, everything that we do here is tied back in with the model. It's all semantically aware, meaning that if you have any changes to the model at any point down the road, you can have any of these annotations automatically updated. All right, so clearly Gdmt Advisor, very useful tool for anyone that's working in model-based definition. You have extensive help content and different advisor messages to help educate users on the state of the model. And if you have any issues with the model, the advisor tree can help to identify those problems and actually help to address them. That's in the last section here, something I want to focus on is with the Gdmt Advisor, again, around the advisor tree. So what we've added is a new tool for reporting and updating mismatches of annotations or any of their attributes. With this, users have complete control to review any of the reported mismatches that we're getting. We could choose specifically which ones that we'd like to update. So if we'd like to take any of those, we can have those update. We can actually see that update process on the model itself. And what's more is users now with those different definitions, they're all going to be retained after those updates take effect. So you can carry those forward into any of the work you do from there. All right, so that's everything that I wanted to cover from a demonstration standpoint. So clearly a lot of added functionality that we have with model-based definition in general, with detailing even on the 2D side, as well as everything that we do on the Gdmt Advisor side of things as well. So really all helping us to take that next step into the world of 3D annotations and still support any of the work that we're doing on the 2D side as well. All right, so that's everything that I wanted to cover from a model-based definition standpoint. Again, if there's any questions or anything that we can answer on the call today, we more than happy to do that. If there's anything that we can't answer on the call, we can definitely reach out to our extended field team that works more around the model-based definition side of things to get more specific questions answered. But yeah, I'd like to pass it off now, maybe to Rob, to take any questions or any wrap up.
Sure. So Paul, just to, I guess, kind of confirm or to put into a nutshell the purpose of using a tool like model-based definition. It's my understanding is that it's basically one of its purposes is to replace using 2D drawings, because it's going to give you all that information that you would normally get from a 2D drawing in a 3D CAD environment. And people are downstream and across the enterprise are going to need to look at that information to make decisions. Is that an accurate statement? And if so, can you expand on it?
Yeah, absolutely. And that is a really good point to bring up as well. So with model-based definition, a lot of the things that we saw on the 2D side of things, right, in the past is that it's very difficult to work with 2D prints, especially as things get more complex, as you start to get more features, more definition that you need to put into the model. It can get difficult to put all that information onto a 2D drawing. It's very visually challenging to see all that, let alone get any useful information out of those. So that's really what model-based definition helps to do, is alleviate a lot of those problems. It makes defining those areas and defining what the user needs to do on the manufacturing side a lot more clear. It allows you to see those different areas, be more interactive with the different features of the model, allow things to be more visually apparent. And like we saw there, a lot of different ways to tie it back in with the model itself, right? So whenever you're actually laying out features and you're laying out different areas of definition with the model, everything you're doing on the 3D side is updating automatically with that. So it's all more tied and more integrated well with the 3D model itself. So, and on the front end user side of things, a lot of really easy ways to go through and consume that information as well. So we have free viewers that you can work with to see those 3D annotations, whether that be internal or external. So a lot of different areas that the model-based definition is helping to really increase our efficiency.
Excellent. So we have a question that came in the queue, and it says, how does combination states export to Creo view files for production?
Yeah, so it depends on which way that you want to export out. If you have it as part of it, it's just simply something that you include in the different states or the different sheets that you have at the bottom. So you can definitely publish those out, whether it be in the Creo view standpoint, or you could actually do it as a step file. We have a step AP242 format that you can export out as that will include those different combination states. So those have no problem being exported and viewed over, even just in the standard Creo view functions.
Good deal. All right, Paul, can you relinquish control?
Yep, let me just go ahead and stop the screen share and we can pass it over to you.
All right. If anyone wants to see a demo on, regarding model-based definition or the Gdmt Advisor, we could do a custom demo with a file that you have, or otherwise. All you have to do is feel free to contact us. And actually, let me go to that slide. All you have to do is contact us at info@3hti.com, or you can respond to any of the correspondence that you received regarding these webinars. The invitations, if you respond, they come directly to me. So we're more than happy to be helpful and assist you. As a value-added reseller with PTC, we take the value-added part very seriously. We are super responsive to our customers to help them solve problems or work through any issues that they have, so that they can design their products faster, get to market faster, make them or save costs in the process so they're less expensive, and also increase their profitability. And one of the things that we also provide for our customers, for every license of Creo, or even Windchill that a customer has, or every license of Creo that a customer has, we give 2 hours of desk side coaching at a minimum. So if you have, it's 1 hour for each license, 2 hours at a minimum. And, you know, a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. And like, I know this with software that we're using as a company for sales and marketing purposes, whether it's Salesforce or Marketo. You know, it would be great to have somebody that I could call to say, hey, can you, you know, working through this issue, you know, can you work me through this? Because unfortunately, Salesforce doesn't have the best best customer service, I don't think. But anyway, um, we will work alongside you to work out to help you with any aspect, any extension that you have with Creo to help you model faster and understand the product a lot more and make you more efficient. So that's our goal, is to help our customers be more efficient with the software, and you know, make it a little easier and hopefully a little happier to go to work every day. So with that, I don't see any more questions in the queue. So at this, we will be dismissed. And Paul, thank you very much for the demo and the information. And we will be back next week with a webinar regarding simulation capabilities within Creo 8. So that will be very exciting. And Bill will be back, and I'm sure Bill will be fielding a lot of questions in that respect. So,
and Rob, as a quick standpoint, just on the question that was asked earlier, I just wanted to clarify as well that to view those combination states over in Creo View, you would just simply publish it out or save it as into a PVZ format. So that's how you can view those different combination states over in Creo View.
Okay. Cool. Thanks, Paul. And thank you to our audience and everyone, and have a great day, and we'll see you next week, hopefully. Take care.